KVGIRadio.com. Live without limits.
All right. Happy Tuesday morning, everybody out there in Urshel Speaks and KVGI Radio Land. Man, it's been a few weeks. Lots of things that have been going on, lots of changes, lots of growth. But I have missed you guys. I've missed being here in the studio at KVGI. Missed being here, trying to be the right man at the right time to say the right words to change the world. A lot has been happening, lots going on. And right off the bat, let me go ahead and say to all my guns up Red Raiders fans out there, all my family and friends and classmates, um, awesome run, heartbreaking game last night, and hated to see the Red Raiders go down in overtime. But what a great season. What a great even final game, and what a great run during the playoffs. Nobody's got anything to hang their head down about. Be proud about the fact that, man, those guys, they gave everybody their money's worth all season long, and definitely. Now, let me be honest, full disclosure, I don't watch college basketball until around about, you know, we get to 32 teams left, somewhere around there. But I know from what I saw, it was magical. It was awesome. Saw some young men out there playing their hearts out. So good to go on those Red Raiders. Guns up, and maybe they'll have another run next year. But I know that was heartbreaking for a lot of our friends. I wanted to text everybody, hug everybody, and just be like Santa Claus and make a trip around to all of the different watch parties that I knew were going on, and give up some love. So much love from you here, from Urshel Speaks, from Urshel myself, and yeah. So a lot has been happening. I've been missing you guys being here. I'm glad to be back in the studio and rocking and rolling. KVGI's got a lot of great things happening. So make sure you're staying tuned and make sure you're checking out some of the other shows. There'll be lots more happening, great opportunities. And for those of you that are running businesses, for those of you that are entrepreneurs, great opportunities for you to partner with KVGI, partner with this show or some of the other shows that may even be better for your listening audience, or for your market based on their listening audience. Some opportunities to partner and to advertise on KVGI radio. So we want to make sure that you know that. I plan on doing a lot of great things with the show this year, having a lot of fun. I've got a great series that's going to be coming up called "Praying on Those Who Pray." Just think about that, and we're gonna do something I think is going to be very powerful, very special. But I would like to share some news with you today, and a little story. And we're gonna take this first segment, and we're gonna bring Ursula's words of wisdom out of that. And it's gonna, I promise you, this one's gonna flow like most of them, but specifically this one straight from the heart. So, like I said, lots of things been going on, working with a few different entrepreneurs, and some endeavors of my own. So every day is busy. Most days are different. I don't really have a set schedule of what's going on, but I'm just out there, killing and eating every single day. And you know how it is when you're working every day, when you're running, when you're here and you're there, and different things are happening. You're getting wins, you're taking a couple of L's here and there. You're doing what it takes, especially on the entrepreneur side of life. And you're trying to help and build, and that's what I do. Try to build and help it, and help people optimize and maximize their opportunities, their business. And so Friday was one of those days at the end of a long, busy week. Had some good days, some really good days last week. Had some stress points last week. Lots of things that were going on. Just the typical stuff, right? And spent, let's see, probably about 3 hours at a law firm, doing some really good stuff there, and working with a business owner, and then I had to meet someone after that, and discuss a few things, and have a drink, and then I met two other venture capitalists and an oil and gas guy. I met them immediately afterwards for a happy hour, and so we had a good time, good conversation, looking at some opportunities that I'm excited about, and when I got home after that, it wasn't too late. Didn't stay out super late or anything like that. I think I don't know, 8:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that. And got home, and I was looking for my friend. I was looking for my buddy, Kingston. I remembered he had gone out. Sometimes he wakes up, and Kingston is our 185-pound English Mastiff, beautiful dog. And he'd gone out. Sometimes he gets up around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, wants to go outside. And so he'd done that. And so I'd let him out around 4 a.m. And normally goes out, does his business, comes back in. And Friday he went out and he did his business, and then he laid in the grass, and I think the weather was kind of nice last week, and so he didn't want to come back in. So I went back upstairs, slept for a little while longer, got up, did my reading and my morning routine before I jumped into my day. And he stayed outside. He was hanging outside, laying in the grass. It was all freshly cut and nice. And so then I come back home around lunchtime, and Kingston's still out in the backyard. So I went out and played, rubbed his belly, pushed him around a little bit, and had some fun. And then I had my afternoon appointments, and what I mentioned before, time at the law firm, a couple of happy hours, came back, and my good buddy Kingston was still outside. Well, I went and looked outside, and I didn't see him. And so I came in the house and, went around, checked the kids' rooms, didn't see him around. And I thought, oh, man, I went and checked the gate. Gate was closed. So I was like, oh, I know no one, jumped over the fence and stole my 185-pound dog. So I grabbed my flashlight. I went and looked around in the yard to see if there, anything looked suspicious. And I found our family dog, Kingston, laying up against in the corner, laying up against the fence, and he'd passed away. And he had, spent the whole day outside, didn't come in the house. I think that there are some both instinctive and protective things that we learn from some of the animals, and I've spent the weekend thinking about that. But yeah, so Kingston he had expired in our backyard, and I discovered that on Friday night. And he's a dog that's been with us since North Carolina. He's been with us here our whole time in Plato since we came back. And man, I tell you, that was a tough deal. And I remember the first time that happened when I was a little kid, and it was different because our dog got hit by a vehicle. But this time, it wasn't. It's just that, his time, I think they're probably, if we were to, get into it, they're probably, late in the game there may have been some heart issues. He wasn't sick. He's a big dog, and we didn't have to deal with, typically sometimes they get older and deal with the hip dysplasia and things like that. And, he was still, going up and down the stairs, doing what he wanted to do, chasing anybody that had pizza in their hand, or anything that, even resembled bacon or meat. Kingston was an amazing dog. I used to take him to work sometimes. People in the dental office next to my old office, they used to come over, because I was bringing them to work for a while on a regular basis. And they used to come over just to come, and hang out with Kingston, and to love on him and pet him and things like that. And, our dog was great. And so you get to join me today in my therapeutic session, just talking about him a little bit. But, it's, and I know that so many people can say this about their pets. And sometimes, we might make fun of people with pets. And I don't know that I've ever done that, but I probably laughed at some of the jokes that other people, have shared about, the way people love their pets and treat their pets. And, you hear people say, some people treat their pets better than they treat other people. And, and that may or may not be true. But one thing I know for sure, uh, and especially with our dog Kingston, um, is that some people might treat their dogs or their cats better than they treat other people. But I know this for a fact that our pets treat us better than we treat other people. Our pets often treat us better than we treat the people that we care about the most and that we love the most. And so, one of the things that we have been doing and talking about in a way of, going through this grief and this mourning of losing what really is no less than one of our family members, is just talking about some of the lessons that we learned from our dog, or lessons that we should learn and that we should have learned, that we should have been paying attention to. And I know that everybody talks about, how, animals, especially dogs, but probably not cats. I've never owned a cat. I've never been a cat person, not against cats or anything. But specifically when it comes to dogs, people talk about the unconditional love and the way that dogs, no matter what type of day you've had, whether you've got an attitude, whether you feed them on time or not, your dog shows you that consistent love and appreciation. Every time you show your dog affection, he's happy to receive it. He doesn't judge it. He doesn't judge your motives. He doesn't decide whether you're doing it just because you want something back from him. He receives your affection, receives your love, or she receives the things that you give. They're happy. Their tail wags when you give them food, because they're thankful every single time. They appreciate it every single time. You can take a little snack and give it to them, and they'll roll over, they'll do tricks, they'll do all sorts of things because they want to please. They love you. They love the relationship. They love how it feels to be shown appreciation. But even when they're ignored sometimes, even when they seem to be a nuisance, even when we don't understand, why they may be barking or why they might be doing this, or they're just operating in their instincts, and we may not appreciate in that moment what they're doing and why, or we may not understand, or it may just be frustrating. They don't treat us the way that we treat each other, and so that's caused me to reflect on a few things. I'm gonna drop probably a couple of blogs on living life like Kingston, but I just think, what if we all lived? I know being, as a man, I know being called a dog has never been a good thing, and it's never been considered a compliment. But in honor of Kingston today, I think that if someone, told me you act like your dog, I think that I probably need to reconsider how I take that conversation, because if I can consistently show love to the people in my home, if I can consistently show love to the people in my neighborhood, if I can consistently be kind, if I can consistently provide protection the way that our dog did, if I can consistently do the things and make people feel the way that my dog made us feel, and if we all did that, if we all lived just a little bit more like Kingston, if we all chose to make sure that the expression of our love isn't based simply on what someone does for us or how they make us feel in that moment, but it's really based on our nature, our instinct, and who we are. That we are people that are made to care, made to love, made to connect, made to appreciate, made to bring value on the inside to the people around us, if we recognize that that's just who we are, that every time someone takes a moment to be nice, to be kind, to share, to talk, to give us affection, if it just made us get excited and light up and realize that this is what life is really all about. Because life is about living. It's about living life to the fullest. It's about maximizing the moments. And you can't do that without valuing the relationships and the people that you have in your life. And so since I, spent the better part of, the last 96 hours being sad and remembering and even being a little frustrated and angry, I can't help but take some time and want to share with you today a little bit about, living life a little bit more like Kingston and showing the people around us the love that we all get from our furry members of our family. Hey, that's the first segment. We're going to come back, talk about a few more things on Urshel Speaks.
Hey, travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
LD Automotive works on all makes and model vehicles. They're a full-service shop that will take care of your every need. Check engine lights, upholstery, oil changes, and everything in between. They are members of the Frisco Chamber of Commerce and are located in downtown Frisco at 8142 Parkwood Boulevard, Frisco, Texas, 75034. Find them at www.ldautorepair.com. That's ldautorepair.com.
Lead the Way Home Savings Program gives back to those who have served anywhere in the nation. Whether you are buying or selling, you get 25% of your realtor's commissions if you have served or presently serve in the military, in law enforcement, or as a firefighter, teacher, doctor, nurse, minister, and administrative or supporting personnel. Lead the Way gives back to those who serve. Go to www.leadthewayhomes.com or email us at admin@leadthewayhomes.com. We are nationwide, so apply today and start looking tomorrow. Application is easy. Find us at www.leadthewayhomes.com.
Everyone needs hope. And if you tune in Tuesdays at 12 p.m., Frisco Hope, brought to you by Camp Craig Allen, can inspire you. Frisco Hope, noon on Tuesdays.
Have you written a book and want to get it published? Then call Page Publishing ASAP. We're looking for authors of all types of books. And unlike most publishers, Page Publishing will take the time to review each and every book submitted to us. And we'll give you our feedback. And if we like what we read, we will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, the Apple iTunes Store, Barnes & Noble, and other outlets. We handle everything. Editing, cover design, copyright protection, printing, publicity, and distribution. So if you've written a novel, children's book, cookbook, inspirational work, poetry, or a biography and want to get it published, call Page Publishing now for your free author submission kit. Your road to fame and fortune could very well start with this simple phone call.
Call now, 800-219-8262, 800-219-8262, 800-219-8262. That's 800-219-8262.
KBGIRadio.com.
Hey, this is Dan Cortho.
And Mark Warner, and you're listening to KBGI Radio.
Hey, did you know that there are daily talk shows?
I did not, Dan.
Do your ears a favor and tune in every day with your smartphone using any of the KBGI Radio apps.
And it's radio as it should be.
Live without limits.
All right, live without limits, KVGI Radio. Welcome back to Urshel Speaks, and this segment is brought to you by Dean McCurry Auction Services. You can find them at dmauctionservices.com. So for all of you out there that are raising funds for nonprofits, for private schools or churches, or anything that you are putting people in a room, trying to get them together to raise funds for a cause that you care about, you need to meet, you need to know, and you need to contact Dean McCurry Auction Services. They will help you from the very beginning of planning your event, which you should be planning way, way, way out ahead of time. They will come together. They will meet with you. They will meet with your team. They will meet with your board, and they will help you put together an event that is, one, going to be, exciting, that's going to be fun, that's going to be moving, and have some things from different perspectives that will catch people's attention. But most importantly, they're going to do one thing and do it well. And they are going to help you maximize your fundraising efforts so that you have more money to spend on the thing that you care about the most, or the thing that your nonprofit, your charity, your school is involved in. So Dean McCurry Auction Services, they have the team, they have the talent, and the technology to make your event flow smoothly and get rid of some of those bumps and some of those things in the course of an event that cause it to run slow, and for people to get bored or distracted or disinterested, or even worse, to get annoyed with the way that your event is operating. So you need to reach out to them at DM Auction Services, Dean McCurry Auction Services, dmauctionservices.com. Reach out to them. Let them bring their team, their talent, and their technology to your event and maximize your fundraising efforts. So, give them a call. Good friends of mine. I've worked with them. I've seen them work, and doing everything I can to make sure that people know that Dean's your man when it comes to wanting to grow your nonprofit and your fundraising endeavors. So, I want to go way back and thank you for being a part of my therapeutic session this morning, talking about my amazing and beautiful dog Kingston. He is gone now, but I'll tell you what, he'll be in our hearts forever. I'm already looking around and trying to not necessarily replace him, but I just have accepted, as my good friend Chrissy told me, just accept that you're a dog family, you're a dog man, and go ahead and move on and get another dog or two. And so kids are excited about that. I'm excited about it. I think my wife's still deciding, if now is the right time. So we'll come to that decision. But definitely in the market for another beautiful English Mastiff or maybe two. And already ran across some scammers out there trying to take advantage of people who are trying to do something good. So not only is there a special place in hell for those people, but there might be a special place on the other end of Urshel's wrath if they keep up the nonsense out there. I don't know why people do that. But I want to share something with you. I'm going to go way back to my beloved days in the Marine Corps and talk about something that I believe that when I'm functioning at my highest and when I'm at my best, this is a part of my life. So I want to share it with you. Back when I was a young Marine, and I'd been in the Marine Corps for maybe about I was past, I think I was beyond my first enlistment. And anyway, so I'd been in a little while. I wasn't brand new. And one of the things when we had morning formation, whether that was, just our morning formation, everyone's out getting ready to go to work or in school, or whether it was, after PET or our physical training or whatever, and everyone's there. And there's something that would be said at the end of every formation. I think every Marine that's out there listening probably knows what I'm about to say. And the commanding officer would say to the senior enlisted Marine that was there, whether it was the first sergeant, sergeant major, whatever, it'd say, take charge and carry out the plan of the day. Take charge and carry out the plan of the day. I, sir, boom, about face. And if it was the weekend, we were being sent on libo, someone might say something like, release these Marines on the public or some craziness like that. But I remember, again, you hear that, and these things become automatic. It's repetitious, and I love that part of it. I love the ceremony and the ritual, as it were. And sometimes, because it's ritual, sometimes we forget that there is meaning in some of the things we do. It's like walking down the street or walking into a building or a room, and someone says, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm fine." We forget that they're actually asking a question. We've just kind of accepted this as a way of greeting one another, and they're not really actually, in many cases, asking a question, and we're also not necessarily answering a question as far as actually having meaningful dialogue. It's just become our way of doing things. And so that's kind of how this was. Take charge and carry out the plan of the day. And I just happened to be walking away with my first sergeant, and just kind of jokingly said, "All right, well, so what's the plan of the day?" And he was like, "Well, do you know what the plan of the day is?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Have you ever seen it?" And I was like, "No, I actually did not know." I think maybe I was like a young corporal, or no, yeah, maybe I was a corporal, so maybe it was my first enlistment. And so he said, "Well, come with me." We went to the adjutant's office, and excuse me, went to the adjutant's office, and he showed me the plan of the day, and there was an actual plan of execution for the unit for the day. And then now that could, on a unit basis, that could include a lot of things and maybe a broader scope, and then broken down into different parts of the unit and sections. But it was interesting to me because, there was actually a plan of the day. So, that, although it was interesting, at that moment, it wasn't necessarily, life-changing or earth-shattering. It didn't set my career on a different path, but it did satisfy some curiosity that there was, in fact, and imagine that an organization that's based on, order and discipline actually has a plan for how each day is supposed to go, and that it's written down and there's an expectation for it to be executed. So I've thought about that from time to time, and I think I've written about it once or twice. And I wondered, how much more effective. And like I said, when my life and when my days have been at their best, it's because I had a plan for that day. Not just a plan, kind of for my life or how I want things to ultimately turn out, but I had a plan for that day. I had objectives, and I don't mean just a checklist. And checklists are good, and I know some people who live by them. They execute them, and they're very efficient, and and that's great. I'm not really one of those people, but also, I probably should be a little bit more like that in a lot of ways. But when your day has a plan that's been thought out of what you want to execute, you then actually have the ability to do exactly what that statement says. And here's the real part. The first part that I think that we all could use some help is doing one thing: taking charge of our life, taking charge of our days, taking charge of our moments, and not being passive and just letting things happen to us, or letting the day come and just kind of bobbing and weaving and trying to avoid bad things happening, or just hoping that good things happen, but rather taking charge of the day, having a plan of attack, and making sure that I am the first one to have a say-so in how my day is going to go and how my days are going to go. And that's, that's a really important part that we don't think about just typically in the aspect of living moment after moment, day after day, and getting into the mundane, especially if, your life is a life where you get up at the same time, you go to the same place, you do the same job, or you stay home and there's laundry or there's this or there's, those things. And we get into a routine. And sometimes the routine is, just kind of what we operate by. And then something happens, something gets in the way, or the dishwasher breaks or something like that, or a kid gets sick. And now we realize that we're living our life on autopilot. And then we're reacting to the aberrations, or we're reacting to the things that interrupt our routine. Well, and that's happened. You can't avoid that. And it's the same thing in the military. It's the same thing in combat. It doesn't matter what your battle plan is. The enemy always gets a vote. We say that, or still say that, no battle plan survives first contact. The enemy is never just going to say, okay, well, you got a great plan, so here you go, take this hill. And life's not that way on a day-to-day basis either. But if we have the forethought to look at each day ahead of time, to plan our days, to plan our weeks, to break our days down, and to say, how are my actions today? How are my efforts today lining up to get me to where I want to be 6 months, a year from now? If I'm in real estate, or if I, any aspect of sales, or if I'm working in corporate America, or if I'm running my own business, whatever it is, how are my actions in cumulative steps? How are they helping me to get to where I say that I want to be? How are they lining up with what my dreams and my goals are? How are my goals and my dreams defined? Are they written down? And can I stack, as Jason Garrett, the coach of the Dallas football Cowboys, who are definitely going to win the Super Bowl this year, just missed it last year, just missed it, and the year before that, and close to, 15, 20 years since the last one. But anyway, as Jason Garrett would say, we just want to stack good days on top of good days, and just keep stacking up good days and good execution and good practices and good plays and doing your job. And if we take that mentality and say, okay, I'm going to be purposeful. I'm going to take charge of today. I'm going to take charge of my emotions. I'm going to take charge of my time, which is, the only finite resource that we have. The only thing that we can't get more of than what we're allotted, than what we get. Can't put more than 24 hours in a day. Can't put more than 7 days in a week. And every once in a while, we can slip in an extra day in the year, but that's about it. And that's not even up to us. We're not even in charge of that. But are we planning our days? Are we taking charge? And if we do, then like a military unit, we don't just a military unit doesn't just operate by itself. It's got adjacents. It's got friendlies. It's your unit works in conjunction with other military operations that are going on, or other platoons. Well, you've got family members, you've got coworkers, you've got customers, you've got all of these people, neighbors that intersect with your life, and they may be a part of it in one way or the other, definitely within your family. Well, have you aligned with your spouse? Have you communicated to your children? Are you working in your career or in your business with the people that are important, business partners, whatever, associates? Is everybody on the same page? If not, if you're a leader and that's not the case, everyone doesn't understand the direction or the mission, you're not working together, then you're failing to communicate. You're not taking charge. You're hoping that somehow living by default will produce the result that you desire and that you want to see. And that rarely happens. Sometimes maybe you just get, lucky and fall into alignment and success, but that's not how we want to live. If we want to live life to its fullest, if we want to maximize our time on the planet, if we want to maximize the life that we can and should be living, then guess what? We got to take charge. Carry out the plan of each and every day. Break that day down into segments and make sure that you're on track, because, we can take life by the horns. We can maximize the moments and optimize the days of our life, but it won't happen by accident. So I give you permission now. You can stand at the position of attention unless you're in your car driving on the tollway. And I'm telling you to take charge, carry out the plan of the day. Hey, this is the end of the second segment. I want you to stick around, talk about a couple more things here at for the final segment today. Again, I'm glad to be back and here on KVGI Radio. Make sure that you check us out on the web. Facebook Live is always streaming. Check out the other shows that are on there. And we'll see you just on the other side of this break. And we're going to take it home. All right. Urshel Speaks. We'll see you in just a bit.
Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our Better Business Bureau A-rated team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Call now for a free case review and a low price guaranteed quote to get you protected today. Call now, 800-388-4901. That's 800-388-4901. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-388-4901.
Add the latest technology to your vehicle. Safety products like backup and blind spot cameras. Convenience and security products too, like smartphone connectivity and vehicle alarms. Your local mobile electronics store offers the latest information, free demonstrations, plus expert installation. Experience the latest trends like vehicle lighting, window tinting too. And don't forget sound upgrades for your ride. See Audio Depot, 4312 Matlock Road, just off I-20, Arlington.
Are you getting squeezed by the economic downturn? Hey, you were doing fine. Then, all of a sudden, you're having a tough time paying your family's credit card bills. Maybe you were downsized or even lost a job, but you still owe 10 grand or more in credit card bills, and you just can't afford the minimum payments anymore. We're here to help. We are the Genesis Debt Partners. We know the secrets to negotiate better terms with your creditors. Make a free 10-minute call right now and learn how we can help you get out of debt. 800-297-9142. If you owe 10 grand or more in credit card debt and you want to learn how you can pay less and get out of debt faster, call right now. 800-297-9142. 800-297-9142. Get out of debt now. 800-297-9142.
It's hot outside, and it's only going to get hotter this summer. Your solution? Visit Audio Depot and get your windows tinted. Right now, Audio Depot is offering Formula One from Lumar, the film with the best heat and UV protection, so you can keep your interior looking new and you and your passengers comfortable. Swing by Audio Depot in Arlington at 4312 Matlock Road, or call 817-466-2441. You can log on to our website at audiotodepot.com and like us on Facebook. Just search Audio Depot. Remember to stay cool with Formula One and Audio Depot this summer.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you can donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-639-8620. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It'll be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car. And as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now. Call 1-800-639-8620. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-639-8620. That's 1-800-639-8620.
Not too long ago, it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank, didn't it? For a vacation or a new car. But today, withdrawing your own cash has become risky. Pat Boone here for Swiss America. According to The Secret War, a new Swiss America white paper, I learned that all banks are now required to spy on you and me for the government, and then report any financial behavior deemed suspicious or unusual. You must read The Secret War. It's free. Truth is, I believe the government's new war against cash is really a war against us all. But the secret is now out. So please, get and read The Secret War.
Pick up your phone and call right now. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. Once again, that's 800-978-3901.
Hey, this is Dan Corthell.
And Mark Warner, and you're listening to KBGI Radio.
Hey, did you know that there are daily talk shows?
I did not, Dan.
Do your ears a favor and tune in every day with your smartphone using any of the KBGI Radio apps.
And it's radio as it should be. Live.
Without limits.
And we are back live here in the studio in Frisco, Texas at KVGI Radio. And, man, excited to be wrapping up this segment and just sharing some of the things that are on my heart. I've got a lot of things coming up and some guests that I know that you're going to enjoy. We've had some great ones this year so far, and man, I'm looking forward. We're going to be bringing Kurt Francis back and a couple of other friends, but I want to talk to you a little bit about a discussion that we're going to be having. And I just want to introduce it a little bit and maybe prime the pump. And you might know somebody. You might have an idea of someone, because I'm thinking we're probably going to do this. I haven't decided whether we're going to do 3 or 4 segments on it, or maybe just do one big conversation and then break it up into different segments and how we would deliver it. I might even talk to good old Mark Warner and maybe even do something a little bit different and have a special segment. But it's on a topic that we talk about and we deal with when it happens. Unfortunately, it happens way too much. Some of it's been happening for a long time. And the subject and what we're calling it is preying on those who pray. And so we've seen way too much in the news. Something that's been happening, it's happened in this country for a long time, with churches being attacked and churches being bombed and people that are going to their houses of worship and are basically at a very vulnerable, state, in a place that they consider and is considered sanctuary, a safe place, a place that you can go and be and supposedly not only not have to worry or be on defense, but a place where you can actually find peace and solace and be comforted and rejuvenated. And in that place, people are being attacked. And now I said church, but it's more like place of worship, because we recently have seen Jewish synagogues being attacked while people are there exercising their faith. We've seen mosques and happen, where Muslims are worshiping and praying, and so I think that there's a conversation that needs to be had. And I think that we need to have this conversation, and I feel like we need to kick down some thoughts and some ideas about how we look at some of these things. I remember this guy that I worked with, and when the shooting, I don't remember exactly when it happened. I know it was a country and western concert that was in Vegas, and there was a shooting during that concert. A lot of people were shot. and some people murdered. And I remember going into work, and as the facts started coming out, and on the news and on the alerts, and they had apprehended the perpetrator, and I remember this guy that I was working with made, I thought it was kind of a stupid comment. He said, "Well, at least it wasn't a terrorist." I was like, "What?" He said, "Well, at least it wasn't a terrorist." And I said, "Absolutely, it was a terrorist. What do you mean? What do you mean that it wasn't a terrorist? This is a person that was hiding and sniping people in a crowd. How is that not terrorism?" And but as soon as my reaction was coming out of my mouth, I realized, what, from his perspective, what he was saying, at least it wasn't a Muslim, right? At least it wasn't a person who has a different faith than what I have, that whenever they commit this type of atrocity, we automatically assume it's tied to specific organizations that have been labeled as terrorist organizations. But my question is simply this: were the people in that crowd terrorized? Were they terrified? Were they murdered? And so the reason why I feel like there's some merit and there's some purpose to this conversation that we need to have is because, in the same way that in the first segment and in many of our conversations, we talk about love, and I don't talk about love in this segmented sort of way where it's different here. I mean, love is love, right? When someone loves you, and when someone shows love to you. And so we don't necessarily, well, maybe in America, maybe we do classify, because, we love pizza, we love, so many things. And then we use that same word when we talk about our children, or I talk about my dog. But, that's the way our language has evolved or devolved, depending on how you want to look at it. But the reality is it's exactly the same, in this sense that we may look at what's happening, and when we hear of a church bombing, and it's a Christian church in somewhere in America, and we look at it and automatically assume, like this person did, that the shooting in Vegas was terrorism, right? Well, or wasn't terrorism because of the faith background, or the ethnic background of the person that perpetrated. But here's what we need to understand. When we talk and when we have this conversation, and we're going to have some people from a few different backgrounds as we discuss this conversation of praying on those who pray, is it any less evil or is there any difference in your mind, in our minds, when a Christian church is bombed, when a African American church has someone who walks in and starts shooting, when a Muslim temple, when someone walks into a mosque and starts killing people, when someone goes into a synagogue and starts murdering people, is it any less or any more evil? And if we don't feel the same way, no matter what place of worship it is, or what type of school it is, if there's something in us, and this is really where the point is, and this is what I really want to flesh out in these conversations that we're going to have. Why is it that we're able to feel differently? Why is it that we may have a different reaction if we don't identify completely with the victims? Now, we can say it's sad, we can say it's bad, but we have a different feeling. We have and let me make this clear. Now, it is natural if you're a woman, to identify more with a crime or with an atrocity against women or other women. It's natural because there are certain things. There's a connective tissue that we have with people that are like us in a variety of ways. So I don't want to ignore the fact that yes, I might identify with something because of who I am, what I am, where I'm from, what I believe, right? So there may be an identity connection that we have. But the minute we let that cross over into not having the same level of compassion and empathy that we would expect when we do identify with the victims or with the circumstance, the minute we let that cross over to saying or wanting more information. Let me give you an example. And this is an example that, made me upset recently. It made me do some things that I don't normally do on the internet. Again, you hang out on my Facebook and my social media, man, I am, I'm spitting sunshine and rainbows. I'm trying to motivate. I'm trying to make people feel happy. I'm sharing, beautiful things that are happening in our lives or things that I think will make people's life or day a little bit better. But recently, down in Deep Ellum, there was a situation that happened late at night. It's all over the news. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you probably already know what I'm talking about. But there was a woman who, down in Deep Ellum, turned the wrong way in her car, and apparently got a little confused, and someone started yelling at her, and so she parked her car, and she parked in the wrong way, and she blocked the exit, and so guy got out, starts yelling at her. Someone starts filming. There's a confrontation, and this guy who was a bartender in this barber shop / bar called High and Tight down in Deep Ellum. And so there's words, the conversation, the words degrade, and then as a result of that, she decides she's going to call 911 based on some things that have been said. He reaches over, smacks her phone out of her hand. She reacts by trying to take a swing at him. And then he proceeds to, punch her in the face, and throw several uppercuts to her face. And all of this is captured from a window across the street, someone that saw it. And so the woman, I mean, she's, has just been, just smashed in the face, I think 4 or 5 times. And it made my blood boil. And so I saw that, and that's something that's never going to go over well with me. And as I watched the story and the updates, there was a comment that came up, and one of the early comments, and one gentleman said, I wish I could hear what was said before the camera came on. And, I wish I could, hear the conversation and what she said and what he said. And I responded with one word, but I was already boiling. And that word was why. Why do you wish you could hear what was said? And then there were a couple of more comments like that. And now I'm turning into a person that's not the normal internet Urshel, because I'm not feeling sunshine and rainbows right now, because what I'm seeing is some people, not everybody, but I'm seeing some people trying to find a way to justify this atrocity that they just saw. And so what I started asking people, and I started going after him. And one guy, I looked at his profile. I didn't get crazy on him, but I looked at his profile, and he has a beautiful family, has a wife who's currently pregnant, and he was asking these similar types of questions as to, why did she get out of her car, and why this and why that, and what did she say to him? And so I asked this guy. I said, here's the question that I have for you, because I'm confused as to why you're asking this, why you're looking somehow for a reason. In the same way that if it's a Muslim church or a Muslim mosque that gets blown up versus a Christian church versus a Jewish synagogue or whatever it is, why are you looking for a reason to not let evil be evil, to not let bad be bad, and just leave it at that and want justice? Why are you looking for something to somehow justify this man pummeling this woman in the face? And so I asked this one gentleman, I said, let me ask you this. What is it that your pregnant wife could have said to this man? What is it that your mother could have said? What could have come before on this tape that somehow would have made you feel like, would have made you say to your wife, well, you kind of had that ass whooping coming. That you deserve to have that guy punch you in your face and uppercut you 4 or 5 times. What is it that would have made you say to your wife who's carrying your child? And this is what I said to him. What is it that would have made it okay for that man to do that to your wife? And if you can't think of anything, then stop trying to think of a reason to not make this evil. Stop trying to think of a reason to not make this bad. And let it be bad. And let's deal with that, and let's deal with it together. Because that is a part of the worst type of divisiveness, when we begin to see people who are not like us and not allow them to be. If they are a victim, they are a victim. And that's another plague that we got in this country. People who aren't victims, everybody wants to be a victim now, right? Everybody wants to say, well, but this, and well, but that. Forget that. Wrong is wrong. Evil is evil. When we have this discussion, and when we bring some of my guests in and we have this conversation on praying on those who pray, this is one of the things that I really want to get to the heart of, is why do we have a different level of empathy and compassion? Why do we want to give room for evil when we don't identify with who the evil has been perpetrated against? That's a problem. That's a real issue, and that's something that, and I'm going to tell you, that's something that we've got to look at, and I've been guilty of it as well. Because we all bring our biases to the things that we see. But you got to judge that crap. You got to judge that crap in your own life. You need to ask, before you start asking, what is it that this person may have done? Or, because it's a Muslim, it's terrorism. But if it's not, then it's a mental health issue. If we're automatically assigning things based on where we live, based on what we believe, based on what we look like, we're perpetuating this problem that we have in this country and worldwide, and we need to back up. One more quick story before we go. I saw a thing on Will Smith. You can go check it out. Ask how did he become great, right? It's kind of a mediocre rapper. He was kind of a simple actor, did the same thing every time. And he said this. He said, I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill. And this is what he meant. If you get on a treadmill next to me, I'm going to run faster and I'm going to run longer than you are, simply because I refuse to let anybody outwork me. I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill. I will throw up, I will do whatever, but I will not let you outwork me. And that's how he went from being a mediocre actor to being great. Well, here's what I found out a few years ago. I'm not afraid to be wrong. I'm willing to go into every discussion, into every situation, looking for truth. If you prove that I'm wrong, you haven't beat me. You've only made me better. You've only added to the knowledge that I have. And I'm a better person because you gave me better knowledge than what I thought I had. I'm not afraid to be wrong. But here's what I'm afraid of, and what we're not going to do on Urshel Speaks. I'm afraid to not bring the tough issues and have these conversations that are going to make us be better humans. We'll see you next week on Urshel Speaks. Have a great one.